first exercise, seated hamstring curl. We're banding it onto the adjacent leg extension, so it's actually, the tension is higher when our hamstrings are at that peak contraction. And I'm going to perform them unilaterally, but explosively in a 1-by-1 nature. Now what I mean by that is I'm going to go right leg straight into left leg as single reps. So this is incredibly functional. It's going to improve my athletic ability, improve my unilateral strength, correct any imbalances if there is any in my posterior chain. So we're going to go straight from here, 20 reps, so 10 on each leg, straight into chin-ups at the far end. And I love opening my back and hamstring posterior style session with a hamstring and a back superset. Light up all the target areas that we're trying to look at during the workout. So we're doing chin-ups. People get chin-ups and pull-ups a little bit confused. Pull-ups is when you're going overhand, outside shoulder width grip. Today we're doing chin-ups, which is a lot more bicep dominant and mid-back dominant than a traditional pull-up. They're very hard when you're 115 kilos. So we alternate. Quads and back and hamstrings get alternated every 2 weeks, whereas the upper body sessions, I have 2 of them, so they're the same every week. So this is back and hamstrings B. Back and hamstrings A has a really heavy compound, stiff leg, dead stop, explosive deadlift off the floor. Today we're going to give our CNS a little bit of a break. Nothing stupidly heavy in terms of load on the bar, but heavy in terms of intensity. We're going to go on the Hyperextension machine here. If you haven't got one of these in your gym, change gym, because these are absolutely brilliant. So many different applications for this bit of kit, I absolutely love it. Today we're going to be looking at hamstrings and glutes, a little bit of lower back in there as well, but we're effectively going to set the Hyperextension up so that where my hip joint is, if we imagine that my body bends only at that point, it folds over the machine at that point, and we're actually going to do a single leg RDL. So we're going to have our knee slightly bent. It's not going to be locked out straight. We want to keep it slightly bent at the knee joint, but that bend doesn't change. And then we stretch over with the target hamstring, allow our lower back to round, fall into the stretch through the hamstring and glute before exploding out of the hole through the target hamstring, target glute, the side that we're trying to do. And we want to be subconsciously driving our hips forward into the pad, contracting our glute max hard at the top. You want to always, when you perform unilateral exercises, you want to always perform the weak side first and then match it with the strong side. Too many times I see guys who perform unilaterally, whether it's like a bicep curl or a single arm pull down, they'll do the strong side first and then they won't be able to match the reps with the weaker side. And the whole purpose of unilateral exercises is to correct imbalances. So if you're performing more reps with the strong side than the weak side, you're just enhancing the imbalance, not correcting it. As you can see on them last few reps, I'm having to use my hand at the top 10% of the movement just to take me to peak lockout. And I absolutely love that. That's maximum intensity. That when you haven't got enough in the muscle to complete full reps, you don't just stop. You get a bit creative, especially when you're training on your own and you haven't got a spotter. So I love exercises like this where you can almost self-spot. Yeah, that is hard. Lat pull down now, wide grip. One of the things loads of people forget with a lat pull down, or they've been told to do, which I don't personally like, it's a personal preference, but they'll lock their shoulders and their scapula down throughout the range of motion. I find you miss out on 10-15% of the stretch if you keep your shoulder blades down and back. So what I like to do on my lat pull downs, I don't care if it's a wide grip, close grip, 45-degree pull down, doesn't matter what it is. At the top of the rep, I'll actually let my scapula go. I'll imagine myself trying to reach towards the ceiling, let my scapula extend upward, and then I'll actually initiate that pull by pulling my scapula down and then driving my elbows down through my lats, all in one motion. So up, big stretch, slight pause, scapula down, elbows down, drive. And that's how I'll engage my pull downs. And I find that the stretch you get, and actually I noticed a massive improvement in terms of physique when I started performing my pull downs like that. So we're going for a rest pause. So I've just done 8 reps, which is to failure on that weight. I'll then take 15 deep breaths, so that's about 4. I'll then perform another set, aim for 40 to 50% of the reps that I got on that first one. So if I got 8, I'll go for 4 now, and then I'll repeat that 3 or 4 times. So I'll only do 1 rest pause set, because if you do it right, the intensity is crazy. So that's 7, 8, that's 15 deep breaths in between micro sets. By the end of this, you should be absolutely spent. There should be nothing left. You shouldn't want to do a back off set. Another incredibly, well, rare now, you don't see it very often, but incredibly effective hamstring builders. I find really for that dense look from the back and from the side, in that side chest, rear double bicep, as well as having incredible athletic applications as well, is a glute hamstring raise or a GHR. We don't have the machine here, but that's no excuse. Everyone knows me, like if there's a way to do it, I'll fucking find it. Where there's a will, there's a way. So I'm going on the seated cable row. I'll drop the attachment down, which is supposed to hold you in place for a lat pull down. I'll drop that down to keep my calves in play. And I'll actually fall off it backwards. So I'll keep my adductors nice and tight, hold my knees together on the bench. And then the key here is you want to imagine the only joint in your body that bends is at your knees. You only bend at the knee joint. So similar to a lying hamstring curl, where you want to think of the target point of flexion as the knee. You're going to fall forward, and I want you to imagine you're falling forward at your hips. Your hips is the big one, your hips in relation to your knees. So your knees bend, so as you fold forward at the knee joint, your hips, you're thinking forwards, not down. If you think down, you'll end up rounding your back and coming over, and you'll miss out on a massive amount of tension through the hamstring. So you're going to go hips away from you, away from where your ankles are locked in, and you're going to fall until you feel that full stretch through the hamstrings, through the glutes. Very, very slight pause. I love taking the elastic energy out of these explosive athletic style movements. If you take away that elastic energy and you pull out of a static position, it's only going to aid in whatever pursuit you're pursuing, whatever goal you're pursuing, whether that be physique development, athletic performance, whatever it be. It's only going to aid that because you're making the movement harder without having to add stupid amounts of load, putting tension through the joints and the soft tissue. So we're going to fall forward at the hips, slight pause, explode out of the hole. And again, it's another beautiful movement in the sense of you don't need a spotter. I can use a lat pull down bar to help me on the concentric part of the lift if I haven't got enough through my hamstrings and glutes to pull my body weight up. I'm a very heavy individual through the upper body. And actually it means when the movement gets incredibly hard and I'm getting towards those failure reps, I can self-spot. I'm not reliant on a training partner or someone to push me to that maximum intensity. I've been training long enough now that I know what that maximum intensity feels like, and I know how to get there if I'm training on my own. It's effective and it's efficient. The main thing we're thinking about is falling forward at the hips. full stretch in the hamstring, slight pause, explode up. And if I need to use my hands on the lat pull down bar, I will. All tight through my adductors, through my glutes, through my hamstrings. And I've definitely lost count of how many reps I'm doing. If you don't know how many reps you're on, you do more. Throw them in your hamstring workout, lad. Ooh. If things are hard, people don't want to do them. But funnily enough, the things that are hard, they're the most beneficial. Dual dumbbell row. I tend to not perform single arm dumbbell rows anymore. I program them a lot with clients because I do find that the stretch you get on them is superior to a dual dumbbell row. But once you get past 50, 60 kilo dumbbells, the benefit of a single arm dumbbell row is kind of outweighed by the negatives. So I'll go to a dual dumbbell row, and actually the total body benefit, I say that 5 times quick, the total body benefit of a dual dumbbell row is far superior. You might need to use a little bit less load in terms of dumbbell, but you get a crazy pump, a very, very functional movement. It allows the wrists to move freely as opposed to a barbell row. You have to brace through the core, through your lower back, through your hamstrings, through your glutes, through the total movement. It's one of those movements that has so many real world applications that even if you are doing single arm dumbbell rows, it's definitely worth looking at your programming and seeing if you can squeeze these in somewhere else. You're gonna set up like you're gonna do a dumbbell RDL, tight through the hamstrings and through the glutes, slight bend in the knee. Allow your arm to stretch down, and actually again, we want our scapula to extend towards the floor. Let gravity act on our scapula, let our back, so we're not letting our spine round, don't get it twisted, but we're letting our scapula stretch around our thoracic spine. And then from there, we're going to pull out of that stretch position. We're going to engage our scapula and drive with our elbows. And you almost imagine your elbows coming up and around your spine in a curved motion. The range of motion that your elbows should take is not a linear path. It's not a straight line. It's around your thoracic spine.